Let me ask you something. Have you ever been with someone who felt like a dream at first? She was charming, exciting, maybe even addictive. But somewhere along the line, something changed. Suddenly, you're second-guessing yourself. You're constantly anxious. You're walking on eggshells, not even sure how you got there. Here's the scary part. Toxic relationships don't always start toxic. In fact, the most dangerous ones often begin like a fairy tale. This video isn't about blaming or shaming women. It's about protecting your peace, your sanity, and your future. Because if you can spot these 8 signs early enough, you won't just avoid heartbreak. You might just save years of your life. So before you fall deeper into something you'll regret, let's break down the red flags of a woman who might just be your worst nightmare in disguise. Stay till the end, because number 8? It's the most dangerous one, and it's the hardest to walk away from. 1. She plays the victim, always. At first, it might seem innocent. She tells you stories of how every guy before you treated her like trash. Her family doesn't understand her. Her friends betrayed her. Her co-workers are jealous. The world is always against her. And you feel like a hero. You want to protect her, to prove to her that not all men are bad. You think she just needs someone to treat her right. But here's the dark truth. People who constantly play the victim are often masters of manipulation. They're not looking for support, they're looking for control. By painting everyone else as the villain, she positions herself as morally superior and untouchable. And if you ever call her out or set boundaries, you'll become the next villain in her story. The worst part? You'll start doubting yourself. Am I really the bad guy? Maybe I was too harsh. That confusion, that self-blame, that's how the nightmare begins. Healthy people take responsibility. Toxic people twist reality until you start apologizing for things you didn't even do. Watch out for the girl who's always a victim, because sooner or later, you'll be her next enemy. 2. She creates drama out of thin air. Ever noticed how peace seems to bother her? One day everything's fine, you're having a chill day, maybe even enjoying a quiet moment together, and suddenly, she's upset. Over something random. Something tiny. Something that doesn't make sense. She might say you looked at your phone too much, or you didn't notice her new nails, or you didn't text back in the exact tone she expected. And before you know it, a full-blown argument explodes out of nowhere. You're confused, frustrated, maybe even angry. But here's the kicker, she's not. She's energized by it. Because for people like this, drama equals attention. And attention equals power. Psychologically, this behavior is rooted in something called intermittent reinforcement, the same principle that keeps people addicted to gambling. You're never sure what version of her you'll get. Calm, explosive, sweet, furious. So you start tiptoeing. You start trying harder. You work to keep her happy, thinking it's your job to keep the peace. But peace was never her goal. She thrives in chaos, because chaos puts her in control. She wants to keep you off balance. She wants to keep you chasing. And if every calm moment in your relationship is followed by an unexpected storm, it's not random. It's conditioning. You're not in love. You're in survival mode. 3. She uses sex or affection as a weapon. At first, the physical connection feels intense, almost too good to be true. She's affectionate, passionate, and maybe even a little wild. You feel desired, wanted, addicted. But then, it changes. Suddenly, intimacy isn't just about closeness, it becomes a currency. A reward. A punishment. Did you disagree with her? Did you forget something? Did you say no to one of her demands? Boom, she goes cold. Withdraws. Withholds affection. Gives you the silent treatment. Acts like you ruined the vibe. And then, just as suddenly, she turns it all back on. Affection becomes something you have to earn, by obeying, apologizing, or proving yourself. This is textbook emotional manipulation. In psychology, this behavior is tied to attachment insecurity and power dynamics. She's not using affection to build connection, She's using it to control your emotional climate. And if you're not careful, you'll start chasing those little moments of warmth like a drug, ignoring the emotional whiplash it comes with. Here's the truth. Love should never feel like a reward. Intimacy should never be a prize for obedience. If every kiss, every touch, every I love you feels like something you have to earn, you're not in a relationship. You're in a power game. And the house always wins. 4. She constantly tests your love, then punishes you for failing. It starts subtly. She says things like, "If you really loved me, you'd stay up all night talking to me. If I meant anything to you, you'd cancel your plans. If you cared, you'd know what I'm feeling without me saying it." At first, it might feel romantic, like she just wants reassurance. Like she needs emotional security. So you try. You prove yourself. Again and again. But no matter what you do, it's never enough. Why? Because the goalposts are always moving. These aren't tests to understand your love, they're traps to keep you proving it endlessly. And when you inevitably fail, she gets distant, cold, maybe passive-aggressive. Suddenly you're the bad guy, the one who doesn't get her, the one who's emotionally unavailable. This cycle is mentally exhausting and designed to keep you on the defensive. Here's what's really going on. She's not seeking love. She's seeking control through guilt. Because if she can make you feel inadequate, she can keep you chasing her approval forever. Healthy love doesn't require passing constant loyalty tests. It builds trust. It doesn't test it like a pop quiz every damn week. So ask yourself this. Are you being loved? Or are you being evaluated like you're in some twisted emotional job interview? If it's the second, you already know the answer. 5. She disrespects your boundaries and makes you feel guilty for having them. You know that feeling when you finally speak up for yourself? You tell her, "Hey, I need some space," or "I don't like when you do that." You'd think the healthy response would be respect, right? A simple understanding. Maybe a conversation about how you both can meet halfway. But instead, she flips it. She doesn't just disregard your boundaries, she attacks you for having them. She might say, "You're so sensitive. Why can't you just let things go? You're overreacting. Are you really going to let something so small ruin our relationship?" But here's the kicker. When you don't give in to her needs, when you assert yourself or try to protect your mental space, you get labeled as selfish, distant, or uncaring. She makes it about her. Always. What's happening here is a classic sign of emotional abuse, and it's dangerous. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and communication. Toxic relationships are built on manipulation, guilt, and control. When you let someone repeatedly cross your boundaries and then guilt trip you into submission, you lose pieces of yourself. And eventually, you forget what it feels like to stand up for yourself. This isn't love. It's a slow erasure of your identity. 6. She constantly criticizes you, but pretends it's for your own good. You think you're doing all right. Maybe you've got a new project at work, or you've made a decision about your life. You feel good about it. Then she speaks up. "Are you sure about that? That's not how I would do it. Maybe you should try harder." And it's not just once. It happens all the time. Every little thing you do, your hobbies, your career, your friends, the way you look, it's never good enough. She corrects you, all while telling you it's for your own benefit. She's just helping you improve. But here's the thing. There's a difference between constructive feedback and constant criticism disguised as help. And it's hard to see at first because it's wrapped in the language of concern and love. But, over time, these constant comments start to chip away at your self-esteem. You begin to question every decision you make. You begin to second-guess yourself and wonder if you're good enough. Eventually, you stop trusting your instincts because you've been told for so long that they're wrong. This is emotional manipulation at its finest. Criticism should never make you feel small. If her help is leaving you with self-doubt, anxiety, and confusion, then it's not help, it's control. 7. She gaslights you and makes you doubt your reality. Have you ever had a conversation where she says something completely outrageous or manipulative, and when you try to call her out on it, she denies it? She acts like she never said those things, or worse, she accuses you of misremembering or making it up. For example, you might remind her of something she did or said that hurt you, and instead of acknowledging it, she flips it back on you. You're being too sensitive. Why do you always blow things out of proportion? You're just remembering it wrong. You're crazy. And over time, you begin to doubt your own memory, your perception, your emotions. You start to wonder, am I the crazy one? Maybe I did misunderstand. This is called gaslighting, and it's one of the most insidious forms of emotional abuse. It's not just lying, it's manipulating you into doubting your own reality, your instincts, and your worth. A gaslighter's goal is simple: control. By twisting the truth and making you question everything you know, she keeps you off balance, uncertain, and dependent on her version of reality. If you find yourself constantly apologizing for things you didn't do, or wondering if you're losing your mind, it's not your fault. It's her. Remember, you're not crazy. You're not overreacting. And your feelings are valid. 8. She is always trying to break your confidence and is afraid of you becoming too independent. At the start, she might seem supportive. She'll tell you how proud she is of your ambitions, your goals, your dreams. She'll say she loves how driven you are. It feels great. You think, this is the one who's got my back. But then, slowly, you notice something odd. Whenever you try to pursue your own dreams or do something that doesn't involve her, she's suddenly unsupportive. Maybe she criticizes your choices, or calls you too focused on yourself. She says things like, "Are you sure you want to do that? You're always so busy, you're going to neglect me. You won't have time for us if you keep going after your career. I don't like when you spend so much time with your friends, it makes me feel left out." And it gets worse. The more independent you become, the more she feels threatened. She'll start creating scenarios to bring you back into her orbit, even if it means pulling you down emotionally. She might belittle your achievements, make you feel guilty for pursuing your passions, or make subtle comments like, "Who do you think you are? Do you think you're too good for me now? You're not the person I fell in love with anymore." The goal here is clear. She doesn't want you to grow. She's afraid of losing control, afraid of you becoming self-sufficient and independent. A woman who is afraid of your growth doesn't love you. She loves having power over you. If you start to feel like she's trying to keep you small, like you can't be yourself without her approval, you're dealing with a toxic dynamic. Your dreams, your independence, and your confidence should never feel like threats in a healthy relationship. They should be celebrated. If you've made it this far, you're probably seeing some patterns, and it's never easy to admit when you're in a relationship that's unhealthy. But acknowledging the truth is the first step toward freeing yourself. You deserve to be in a relationship that uplifts you, encourages your growth, and makes you feel safe and supported. Toxic relationships don't have to be physical to leave scars. The emotional damage can last a lifetime if you don't take action. So, if any of these 8 signs resonate with you, don't ignore them. You're not crazy. You're not weak. And you deserve better. Remember, real love builds you up. It doesn't tear you down. If this video resonated with you, if you found value in what you learned today, I'd really appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content like this. You're not alone. We're all in this together.